been told I've got to start these videos with a right then. So this video is talking about Starlink. Now, we posted a video a couple of days ago regarding a test day at Donington, and we were testing the Starlink at the same time, and a few people in the comments said that it's pretty cool. So Ryan decided that it'd be a good idea to do a separate video on that, so we'll just quickly go through what we're testing. So I'm not going to waste your time unboxing it all, you know, because one, we can't be bothered to put it back in the box, and two, there's plenty of videos like that. So the idea for Starlink initially came about after watching a few YouTube videos, which we'll link those in the description. Various people, mainly in North America, putting them in the cars, you know, sticking them in the sunroof or sticking them on the roof and going for a drive and just testing them. And it seemed like it was pretty good. You know, quite a few people getting over 100 megabits per second, which to say you're doing, you know, 40, 50, 60 miles per hour and getting that is pretty cool. So we thought, right, well, if you can get on a motorway or a freeway, as the guys in America will call it, and get decent speed, could we get the same sort of speed just driving around in a circle, which is on the track? So the idea was get a Starlink, which we've got the Mini version, which is on the Roam package. So that allows you to use Starlink in motion. So it's not expecting to fix to a certain array of satellites. It's expecting you to be constantly connecting to different satellites. And then the package we're on at the minute is the Roam. I think we're only getting 50 gigabytes of data, but there is an unlimited package as well, but 50 should be plenty for what we need. The beauty of it is as well, you can drop the subscription if needed. So like during the off season, we're probably not going to use it very often, so we could drop it down to the 50 quid a month, or I think even you can just completely cancel the subscription and restart it again when you need it. So that's the idea behind that. So we'll quickly show you what setup we've got, and I'll talk through some reasons why we're using this rather than the previous setup and what the previous setup was as well. So you can see here that we've got the Starlink receiver. Now, what differs between the Starlink Mini and the other versions is the router. So that's got an RJ45 socket and also transmits Wi-Fi. That's all part of one unit, and you can see it's pretty small. The other systems, slightly bigger satellite, but also have a separate router, which would be a little bit clunky for in a race car. So we've got this mounted here. We did have it mounted a different way previously, which we'll show. Previously, it was mounted on the same angle as the roll cage, which in hindsight probably wasn't a good idea, because when you're driving around the track at some point, the receiver is probably going to be facing away from a satellite. At least in this orientation, whilst it's not going to be angled at a satellite, it's going to have at least less of an angle towards the satellites, because the proper way of doing this would be to get the app up, which I'll show you in a minute, get the app up and orient the receiver to the exact location and where the nearest satellite is. That'll get you the best speeds, but that doesn't mean it won't work at all if it's not like that. So Harry knocked up some 3D printed mounts for this. Like I said, this is V2 of it. So and then moving to the inside, so you've literally just got one USB-C cable coming from the Starlink that just runs along the side here, and then we've got this plugged into 2700 milliamp battery pack. Now I'll show you what that looks like. Here's what I made earlier. So this is just an A-Logic one, but other brands are available. We're not sponsored by these guys. So you can see this is 100% battery, and it's got an indication of inputs and outputs, which is pretty handy. And it tells you on the back here what inputs and outputs it can do. So the important thing for Starlink is you need at least, I think on the specifications, I'm sure it says you need at least 50 watts, but from all our testing, the maximum we've seen it draw is 32, 33 watts. I think maybe once or twice we've seen it at about 35, which on this at 35 watts should last around two hours, which is perfect for our races. But what we've also got, I chose this one specifically because quite a few don't have this feature where you can charge the unit whilst it's also providing power to another unit. So we've got this plugged in here now. We're charging it with 50 watts and then it's drawing 30 odd. So in theory, this should stay at 100% all the time. Only if there's a disconnection of power, something drops off or whatever, then this will maintain the power. I know that's not the best way of using these sort of things, you know, to get the best life out of them. You'd be draining them down a bit and topping them up a little bit, you know, with a lithium battery. But ultimately, we just need this to stay on all the time. And the only way to get it to stay on all the time is to have it connected directly to the car, but then connected directly to the car can sometimes have interruptions as well. You know, you spin out into the gravel, stall the car, you'd have to do the reset, which would then disconnect the power. So this is why we have the battery pack in line to help that. Again, we've got a nice 3D printed mount where we can see the screen and all that. We'll put some footage of that up there. So yeah, so then that's connected to the car, and we're then connecting all the devices via Wi-Fi to that. So we've got a Live View Solo, which will show you some pictures of that. So that's a unit that just takes a HDMI feed from our VBox HD2 with the HDMI output. So that outputs the same video feed as you get from the SD card. So whatever it's storing on the SD card on there, you get the same feed out there. There are some settings to only show one camera, only show the other, but we just have it outputting the same feed because then we want to stream that live to our pits mainly, and then to you guys on YouTube, whoever spends the time to watch the 45 minutes or 2-hour races. So we're using this instead of the 4G dongles. Now, it's a few reasons. One, we have to have 4 4G dongles in the car because we have there's two different devices. There's the Live View Solo and then the Killer View, which I'll explain a little bit later why we've got that as well. Both of those ideally need 2 SIM cards. If you only have one, that's fine. You can get to a track sometimes where parts of the track are served by one network operator, parts of the track are served by another, or one's stronger than the other. So if you have 2, you're sort of not putting all your eggs in one basket, and you can bond the connections. So the Live View Solo allows you to bond the connections, so does the Killer View. So that's 4 SIM cards. Now, you're looking at probably £20 a month for each SIM card. And that's £80 a month. You're locking into a contract. So we figured maybe Starlink would not save us a lot of money. You know, the maths are not massively in the Starlink's favour, but if it's a better solution as well as saving some money, then it's a win-win. So we've got the Live View. It's connected to 2 4G dongles. Now, what we've got is something like this one. So this is just a 4G dongle, which allows Wi-Fi. It's also got an RJ45 connection. This one actually was provided by the guys from Motorhome Wi-Fi. So this is what we've had in the truck all last season. So we connect that up via the RJ45 to a switch, and then we have Wi-Fi all around the truck and beaming into the garage as well. But that could be for another video. And yeah, so we've got one of those, and then just one of your normal USB dongles connected to the Live View with external antennas that come to this shark fin here. So this shark fin has got 2 4G LTE antennas. We connect those in there, so because inside the car the signal wouldn't be amazing really for 4G. You know, it's definitely not the right environment to get the best signal. The Killer View system, which I'll get Danny to have a look at, is basically the same sort of thing as the Live View, but from a different manufacturer, and we use that because that's the system supported by the guys at Alpha Live, who live stream all the races for the 750 Motor Club. So the idea behind that is during their live streaming, we can go on board with our cars through their live stream. So they're showing outside of the track action, and then when they go on board, that's the equipment we've provided that they've recommended. And it does the same sort of thing, but instead of going to the V-Box, that actually goes from a GoPro, which we've hardwired in. So pretty sure this one's I can't see, that's got a 3D printed mount as well, but I think that's a GoPro 7 or 8, one of the newer generation ones, and that's got HDMI Mini output. That then goes in HDMI input for the Killer View, and then transmits the signal to Alpha Live server. They can then pull that feed whenever they want. So, you know, they might only use it for 1 or 2 minutes during a race, but it all adds to the excitement if they can see a battle from on board. One of the main reasons why we wanted to go for Starlink rather than 4G is the fact that some circuits the signal is terrible. You know, Croft is not amazing, but certainly better than some. Donington's normally pretty good, but then you get to Anglesey, it's like you've gone back in time. There's literally no signal whatsoever there. We just wanted to have a solution that would enable us to have the internet in the pits, but also live stream from inside the car, because we want to live stream to YouTube. You know, it's good to get engagement from you guys, you know, and give something back for all the people who are watching the race videos, so you can see us in action. But as well, we live stream back to the pits so that the guys can see if there's anything critical, so they can see what's happening with the coolant temperature, coolant pressure, oil temperature, fuel pressure. They can see all that sort of stuff. Yeah, we've got it on his dashboard, but if you're in the middle of a battle, you're not looking at that. So the guys can watch it in the pits and see what's happening. So that's the reason for that. So we've done a bit of testing already, which we'll put some of that in this video. Basically, at Donington, it works just as good, if not slightly better than 2 4G SIM cards. We had a bit of trouble around Craners. Every time we went into Craners, it'd stutter, and then we'd end up around Old Airpin before it came back. But we saw that with both the 4G and the Starlink. When we spoke to a few people, they reckon that since DHL opened a hangar there for their planes, that there's been some sort of interference and it's stopped all the radio signals at the marshals posts around there. So if anybody knows anything about that, put that in the comments. That'd be interesting to hear if there's actually any technical reason why we're getting that, or not just that we're going that quick around Craners that the 4G can't keep up, or the Starlink. And so the next stage, we're happy with how it works, but whether we're happy enough to get another Starlink Mini kit, because the hardware for that's like £400 at the moment, and another subscription, we're going to test at Croft. So we've got a test at Croft this Friday. We're going to test there, see how it goes, and we might even do a full race at Croft at the end of April before we commit to anything else, because the big one for us is Anglesey, and that's not until July, so we can certainly wait until then. And yeah, that's about it. So hopefully you found this interesting. I don't know if there's anybody else with Starlink in the race car driving fast around in circles, so if there is, put it in the comments, let us know who it is, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.